If you had told me 5 years ago that I would pack up 3 suitcases, hand over the keys to my 3-bedroom brick house in suburban Atlanta, and buy a one-way ticket to an island in the South Pacific where I didn't know a single soul, I would have told you that you've lost your mind. I was 58 years old, working 50 hours a week as a mid-level manager in a high-stress corporate office, carrying a mortgage that felt like a boulder chained to my neck, and watching my hard-earned retirement savings get swallowed up by taxes, insurance premiums, and the relentless, suffocating cost of simply staying alive in America. My joints hurt every time the winter cold rolled into Georgia. My blood pressure was creeping up every single month, and I spent my Sunday evenings with a pit of cold panic in my stomach, dreading the Monday morning alarm clock. I wasn't living. I was just working to pay for the privilege of waking up to work some more. Then, in the spring of 2023, after burying my older sister, who worked 40 years at a postal office, only to pass away 2 years after retiring, something inside me broke. I looked at my reflection in the mirror and asked myself a real, terrifying question. Is this it? Am I going to spend the final good years of my life running on this hamster wheel until they carry me out in a wooden box? That was the night I opened up my laptop and started searching for expat communities abroad. I saw videos of clear blue water, swaying palm trees, and warm tropical sunshine. I read about a place called the Philippines, where a single person could live comfortably on $1,500 a month, where medical care was affordable, and where the local people spoke English and treated elders with profound respect. My friends told me I was losing my mind. They said a woman moving across the world by herself at my age was dangerous, crazy, and foolish. They told me I'd be back in 6 months with empty pockets and a broken heart. Well, it's been 3 full years since I stepped off that plane in Cebu with 2 heavy bags and a terrified heart. I've lived through tropical rainstorms, power outages, cultural shocks, and moments of absolute, soul-filling peace. And today, sitting on the balcony of my oceanfront condo in Dumaguete, while the warm tropical breeze blows through my hair, I am going to answer the one question my inbox gets flooded with every single day. If I could turn back the clock, knowing everything I know now, the good, the bad, and the ugly, would I retire in the Philippines again? Let me give you my absolute, unvarnished, honest answer. But to understand why my answer might surprise you, you have to understand what nobody tells you about moving to the other side of the world. When you first land in the Philippines, it feels like stepping straight into a paradise postcard. My monthly rent for a spacious modern two-bedroom apartment with a view of the ocean, a swimming pool, and 24-hour security is exactly $350 US. Back in Atlanta, my monthly HOA fee alone was almost that much. My grocery bill, filled with fresh mangoes, papayas, local fish, cooked vegetables, and organic chicken from the open-air market, runs me about $40 a week. I hired a sweet local lady named A.T. Rose, who comes in twice a week to clean my house, wash my clothes, and cook me delicious, home-cooked Filipino meals. And I pay her double the local rate because it's still less than what I used to spend on a single lunch at Panera Bread. My blood pressure, which required 2 daily medications in Georgia, dropped back to absolute baseline within 90 days of arriving without taking a single pill. The warm tropical air, the lack of corporate stress, and the steady diet of real unprocessed foods literally healed my body from the inside out. And then there's the way people treat you. In the States, as an aging woman, you spend a lot of time feeling invisible. You walk into high-end stores and get ignored. Or you walk into corporate offices and get talked over. But in the Philippines, respect for older people is deeply woven into the fabric of the culture. People address you as auntie or ma'am with a warm, genuine smile. There is no cold, distant edge. If you get confused at a local fruit stand, 3 people step up to help you translate without asking for a dime. I haven't felt lonely for a single day since I moved here, because the community embraces you like family from the moment you sit down on their bamboo benches. But let me stop right there, because if I told you it was all sunshine, coconuts, and cheap rent, I would be lying to you, just like those fake travel gurus on the internet. Retirement in the Philippines is not a fairy tale, and if you come here expecting it to run like a suburban neighborhood in Texas, this island will chew you up and spit you out before your first visa extension. First, let's talk about the island pace, what the locals call Filipino time. If you are a high-strung American who gets angry when the internet drops out for an hour, or when a plumber says he'll arrive at 10 in the morning and shows up at 4 in the afternoon on Thursday, you will lose your mind here. Things move slow. Bureaucracy is heavy. You will stand in 3 different lines at the local immigration office just to get a single stamp, while the AC hums softly and nobody seems to be in a rush. In my first 6 months, I blew a fuse every time a power outage cut off my air conditioning in 90-degree heat. I had to learn to take a deep breath, step out onto my porch, drink a cold glass of calamansi juice, and accept that I was no longer in a country defined by corporate efficiency, but in a country defined by island rhythm. Second, you have to talk about the healthcare reality. While private hospitals in major cities like Manila and Cebu offer world-class, Western-trained doctors at a fraction of U.S. prices. I got a full-body MRI, blood work, and a doctor's consultation here for less than $200 out of pocket. Rural health care on the smaller islands can be very basic. If you have a severe, complex, chronic medical condition that requires specialized emergency care every few weeks, living on a remote beach hours away from a major hospital can be a dangerous gamble. You have to be smart, choose your location wisely, and keep a dedicated medical emergency fund in cash. And third, let's address the elephant in the room that every solo female expat asks me about. How do they treat single Western women in the Philippines? When I first walked through the airport, people noticed the fair skin and blonde hair right away. People stared. In America, when people stare, it can sometimes come with a cold edge, a silent judgment, or an uncomfortable feeling. But here, I quickly realized that the staring wasn't coming from hostility. It was coming from pure, innocent curiosity. Most islanders in smaller towns aren't used to seeing solo Western retirees living permanently in their village. The moment you smile, say magandang umaga, good morning, and wave your hand, their faces light up like Christmas trees, and they welcome you with open arms. I have felt safer walking through the streets of Dumaguete at 11 o'clock at night, alone, as a senior woman, than I ever felt walking through a parking garage in downtown Atlanta. There are no handguns on every corner, no road rage, no underlying tension bubbling under the surface. The safety and peace of mind I feel here is something money simply cannot buy back home. So let's come back to that million-dollar question. Knowing the heat, the slow bureaucracy, the sudden power cuts, the distance from my old friends, and the complete shift in lifestyle, would I pack those 3 suitcases and move to the Philippines all over again? If you offered me a free, fully paid-off mansion in Atlanta, $1 million in cash, and a corner office back at my old corporate job, I would look you in the eye, smile, and say, no thank you. Keep your mansion. Moving to the Philippines didn't just save my retirement. It saved my actual life. It gave me back my health, my peace, my self-worth, and my time. It taught me that my value as a human being isn't measured by how many hours I log at a desk, how fancy my car is, or how much stress I can endure before breaking. It taught me that waking up to the sound of ocean waves, eating fruit picked fresh from a tree, laughing with neighbors who genuinely care about your well-being, and living with a quiet, peaceful mind is the only true wealth that exists on this earth. I am 61 years old now. My skin is glowing. My body is pain-free. My heart is light. and my days belong entirely to me. I don't set an alarm clock anymore. I wake up when the sun hits my window. I drink my hot coffee while watching the fishermen pull in their nets. And I thank God every single day for giving me the courage to step off that ledge and claim my freedom. If you are sitting in a cold room back home right now, looking at your bank account, feeling exhausted, overworked, and forgotten, I want you to hear me loud and clear. You are not trapped. You do not have to stay where you are just because it's familiar. There is a great, big, warm, beautiful world waiting for you on the other side of your fear. You just have to be brave enough to pack your bags and go find it. Would I retire in the Philippines again? In a heartbeat. In a single, joyful heartbeat.